Welcome to the Inside Games Roundup, the only gaming news show brave enough to hope that ex-Bungie CEO Pete Parsons doesn't ding the paint on his classic car as he peels out of Bungie's parking lot one last time.
Yet again, we're coming to you live from the streets of Germany. We're just rounding out Gamescom here. I got one more day here. I've been seeing some stuff, making some connections, and we got some gaming news to talk about. A lot of interesting stories this week. Yeah, not only did Pete Parsons leave Bungie, but got some layoffs at the developer for Bioshock 4. Roblox has finally been sued. I think a lot of people have been waiting for that one. And we got some, guess what? We got some unpleasant DLC news, but, you know, it's usually unpleasant.
That's right. DLC is pretty much always unpleasant. And the most pleasant man I know, not the most unpleasant man I know, is Brian Garr here to tell us about all those stories. Brian, what's up?
Thanks, Bruce. Yeah, we've got some big changes coming to Bungie. After more than 2 decades at the studio and nearly 10 years as a CEO, Pete Parsons and his classic cars are officially stepping down. So the announcement came in a blog post on Bungie's website, where Parsons reflected on the studio's long and sometimes rocky journey, to say the least, under his leadership. Parsons wrote, "When I was asked to lead Bungie in 2015, my goal was to grow us into a studio capable of creating and sustaining an iconic generation-spanning entertainment. We've been through so much together. We launched a bold new chapter for Destiny, built an enviable, independent live ops organization capable of creating and publishing its own games, and joined the incredible family at Sony Interactive Entertainment."
Parsons' tenure as CEO began in 2016 when he took over from Harold Ryan. He helped steer Bungie through its very public split with Activision in 2019 and oversaw the studio's $3.7 billion acquisition by Sony in 2022. But the past several years have been rocky, to say the least.
Yeah, Destiny 2 has struggled. Major projects have seemed delayed, and the studio has faced repeated layoffs. Roughly 100 employees in 2023 and another 220 in 2024. Developers have described the work environment as soul-crushing. Oh boy, it doesn't get worse than that. And concerns over Bungie losing its independence to Sony have loomed quite large.
There was also an internal reckoning over Bungie's workplace culture. A 2021 report exposed a toxic environment prior to Parsons taking charge. Some employees did credit him with improvements, but others said he was slow to act or didn't know how to handle problem employees. Parsons later apologized.
Parsons' successor is Justin Truman, Bungie's chief development officer, and a 15-year veteran who started out working on Destiny 1.
In his own message, Truman acknowledged Bungie's ups and downs, but struck an optimistic tone. I guess it would be very concerning if it were any tone other than that. He wrote, quote, "We are hard at work right now on doing that, both Marathon and Destiny. We're currently heads down, but we'll have more to show you in both of these worlds later this year."
Yay! I can't wait.
It's so fascinating. When I remember specifically when Sony acquired them, there was some very concerning wording in their announcement about it, about how they were going to launch all these different art projects and all their worlds were going to come to life in all these different mediums. And none of that happened. So yeah, Parsons got to burn a lot of money on his dream factory, none of which ever turned into marketable or sellable products. And now he gets to go retire with all of his cars.
I don't want to sound jaded here, but generally speaking, if Pete came on around the time of that acquisition for Sony, that's usually what these CEOs will do. Like, usually they'll bring in a CEO to sort of oversee an acquisition and then they'll take their money and run. But Pete Parsons was there a little earlier and stayed a little later. So maybe he did a little more work than most CEOs during acquisitions. Either way, he got that deal done. And I'm not saying it's good, but that's what probably he was there for.
Yeah, this also feels like, to me, he may have gotten pushed out too. I mean, I feel like things have not gone well for Destiny in recent years, and I feel like the buck stops with him, clearly, and so they're like, okay, let's give it to somebody else, see what they can do with it.
Ostensibly, and I remember reading this into a lot of the acquisition announcements at the time, Bungie was acquired because they were kind of seen as having the golden touch when it comes to games as service. And certainly Destiny was a powerful statement about that when they were acquired. And then also they had all the technical backing of being able to, small things like being able to buy a microtransaction and have it reflect across different platforms. They had all the infrastructure there. But what we've seen from Sony is that Bungie's involvement in their games as service has just yielded dud after dud. That's not to say that Bungie's bad at it, but that truly there is no magic formula. So Sony thought that's what they were acquiring. They found out it's not that simple, and now it's time to change the guard a little bit and drill back down to basics. So I think it's very interesting that they specifically say all we are doing now is Marathon and Destiny, and that's it.
All right, moving on. The next Bioshock just hit another snag. Take-Two Interactive has laid off about a third of the team at Cloud Chamber. That's the studio making the highly anticipated sequel. That's according to sources familiar with the move. That's more than 80 jobs cut from a team of roughly 250 people.
Oof, that's a big one. Along with the layoffs comes another delay. The new Bioshock, which has already been in development for over a decade, won't make its previous target of late 2026 or early 2027. Oof.
No one's even going to remember Bioshock by the time this comes out. Eesh. Yeah, 2K Games confirmed these cuts, saying that they're, quote, reworking certain aspects that are core to a Bioshock game, end quote, and giving the project more time. Man, what could that mean? They better not be taking away my hacking minigame.
That was so good. Cloud Chamber has struggled, to say the least, since it was formed in 2017. It's juggled leadership shakeups, an engine switch to Unreal 5, and the pressure, of course, of living up to one of the most acclaimed franchises ever.
Internal feedback earlier this year reportedly called the game good but not great, leading to a major leadership change and the arrival of Rod Ferguson. Oh, you know what, though? He can deliver games. He's good at that. He's a veteran closer. That's what he does.
Yeah, this is the guy that got Bioshock Infinite shipped back when that game was sort of languishing in development hell. And, people thought it was good back then. But if you play it now, I think you can tell that somebody had to come in and say, no, we got to ship this, wrap it up, and let's get it out the door. So, hey, this means that maybe we might actually play Bioshock 4 one of these days. Let's just hope it's complete when it actually lands.
All right, let's talk about Roblox. It is facing a major lawsuit from the state of Louisiana, my home state, which accuses the gaming giant of enabling, quote, systemic sexual exploitation and abuse of children on its platform.
The lawsuit filed by Attorney General Liz Murrill claims Roblox has, quote, knowingly allowed an environment where child predators thrive by prioritizing growth and profits over safety. This sounds familiar. Liz Murrill continued, every parent should be aware of the clear and present danger posed to their children by Roblox.
Man, it feels like a bit of a day late and a dollar short. They should have been on this like 4 years ago, but hey, we are where we are. Roblox fired back, calling the claims, quote, erroneous, and pointing to new safety features like updated parental controls and stricter defaults for users under 13. The company also emphasized its work with law enforcement and child safety groups.
This is not the first time Roblox has been under fire for similar issues. A Bloomberg investigation last year detailed how predators used the platform to groom and even abduct kids. And a report from Hindenburg Research called Roblox, quote, an X-rated pedophile hellscape.
Meanwhile, To Catch a Predator host Chris Hansen is teaming up with YouTuber Schlepp to investigate similar issues on Roblox. Still, the platform remains huge. 111 million daily active users and more than 6 billion chat messages sent each day. And that is the reason why they're not doing these child protections, because they're making money. And now they finally have to go in and spend some money on protecting children on their platform because they got sued. This is what companies do. They wait until they get sued and then they do something. They never, ever do preventative measures, because how else are they going to make money?
Sorry, yeah, as a parent, fuck Roblox. That game is evil. It should have been sued a long time ago. They need to be hauled in front of a court and prison, I feel like. Yeah, it is awful. All right,
and Brian, you said it all.
Yeah, it's the worst. All right, let's talk about Vampire the Masquerade 2. After years of delay, it finally has a release date, October 21st. Great, right? But there is some bad news. 2 of the game's 6 character classes will cost extra.
Oh, we waited so long. We waited so long for this. It's pretty gross. It's not great news before a game launches. At launch, you'll have access to 4 classes, which are called clans. Oh boy, I'm going to slaughter this. The Bruja, the Temer, Banu Hakim, and Ventru. But if you want to play as La Sombra or Toreador, you'll need the Shadows and Silk DLC, which is $22 extra. Yowza.
Boy, Shadows and Silk, that sounds like something on Roblox. This pack is also bundled with the Premium Edition, which runs a hefty $90 and includes some extra cosmetic content.
Trying to defend the cash grab, the game's narrative director Ian Thomas told Rock Paper Shotgun that the game has changed significantly over its development based on playtesting and community feedback, quote, including a massive amount of story content and features. He added, quote, we have been expanding it from where we originally planned to land it, basically arguing we've added so much stuff to it. We couldn't possibly just be satisfied with full price, I guess.
They got to make all that money back from developing it for the last 15 years or however long it's been.
Yeah, seriously.
I don't know. I kind of fall in the middle on this. I feel like it's possible. Just play the game at launch. And if you beat it and you want to play it again with one of those new classes, then you can open up your wallet. But I typically am a little permissive of games, especially if they're trying to be these like mega RPG games. I'm a little permissive of them eking up in price. I know nobody wants to hear that. I just want these kinds of games to still be made. And if this is how it's got to be, I can accept that, I guess.
All right, let's do a 5-second review. Deep Rock Galactic Survivor. So basically, this is Vampire Survivors mixed with Deep Rock Galactic. So if you like the two of those, you'll like this. This is one of those auto attackers where you run around. It's very good. I love this genre. Also, I died repeatedly on the opening level. So it's just like has embarrassed me repeatedly. Like, I don't know if I'm just old or what, but it's very good, very fun. You should play it.
Brian, I play this every night before I go to bed, literally for the last like 3 weeks, and I'll teach you how to play because it's actually not very easy.
Oh, good. Okay, that makes me feel so much better.
And up next, Inside Games, as always, is on your side, even if we're throttled by data and have to speak through a PNG. This week on Amazon Prime, we've got a couple of free games for you. There's the Dungeons & Dragons Silver Box Classics Collection and Labyrinth City, Pierre, the Maze Detective. If I'm not mistaken, those Dungeons & Dragons games, those are pretty old school and pretty formative. If you want some video game history, you can find it there. Then on Epic, we got another pair of free games, Strange Horticulture and Kameru, a Frog Refuge. So that sounds nice. But yes, a nice spread of free games to play for the weekend.
And now we're going to talk about the upcoming games that you might have to pay for this week. First up, Gears of War Reloaded. Experience the origins of one of gaming's most acclaimed franchises like never before. Faithfully remastered and optimized for PC. Comes to PC, PS5, and Xbox Series X on August 26th.
Next up, Story of Seasons, Grand Bazaar. Searching for a peaceful farm life, a fresh mountain breeze, and your own market stall? Look no further than the friendly community of Zephyrtown. Here you'll grow crops and raise animals, get to know the locals, and sell your wares at the town's bazaar to return it to its former glory. Comes to PC, Switch, and Switch 2, August 27th.
We've also got the Switch 2 edition of Kirby and the Forgotten Land. Explore 3D platforming stages as you discover a mysterious world. Save the kidnapped Waddle Dees. Leaving a pause there for Brian.
Nuts!
And defeat the ferocious Beast Pack. Hope you're hungry for a big adventure. This comes to Switch 2 on August 28th.
Up next, and I'm so excited for this one, Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater. A remake of the 2004 game Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater, with the same gripping story and engrossing world, now with all new graphics and 3D audio that enhance the jungle atmosphere. Get ready for the ultimate survival stealth action experience. Comes to PC, PS5, and Xbox Series X on August 28th.
Lost Soul Aside. Embark on an epic odyssey to save your younger sister and the whole of humanity. From mysterious dimensional invaders, from beyond the starlit skies in Lost Soul Aside. It comes to PC and the PS5 August 29th.
Finally, Shinobi, Art of Vengeance. The iconic Shinobi returns in an all-new 2D action platformer with a unique hand-drawn look created by the team behind the hit brawler Streets of Rage 4, and that game was fucking awesome. Shinobi comes to PC, PS5, Switch, and Xbox Series X on August 29th.
And we have some patrons to thank. They support our Inside Games Patreon every single month. And you know what? Thank you very much, because we would not be able to make this show without the support of these patrons. I promise you, it really is true. Zach the Hack, Seatbelt Man, and Ati.
Yeah, I've got a few more to thank. Brian English, Jose Diaz, and Alec Newkirk. Thank you very, very much for the support. We love doing this. This is why I'm pacing around on a sidewalk in Germany, because it's for the culture, for the lifestyle. So thank you very much for the support.